Salutations, creeps!
Sup?
Hey,
Sonny, Freddy, and I just got back from watching the new Grudge movie.
Yeah, it's our first official movie of the new year. It's 2020, and it's time for fresh, new takes on horror. How would you kids like a remake?
dudes, I didn't even know they were making a new Grudge movie, and I was excited to see this. The Japanese original, Ju-on, The Grudge, is one of my favorite horror movies. And I didn't think that 2004 remake was all that bad either. Hell, I get all my hair care tips from Kayako-san.
Yeah, The Grudge 2004 had the same director, Takashi Shimizu, but it was also fueled with big American money and big American stars like Ted Raimi.
And it helped spawn a legion of direct-to-video wannabe J-horror ghost stories, many of them also getting Americanized remakes, and sequels, and crossovers, and human culture just can't let the dead rest.
Could you even call this new Grudge a remake? It does a little hat tip to the franchise, but it's just an excuse to get the hairball rolling. The Grudge 2020 kind of assumes everybody's on board with the story already, so it ends up being really light on the plot. This movie is all about jump scares and boring callbacks to tropes that anybody who lived through the early 2000s would be overly familiar with.
I agree. This movie is less of a remake and more like a soft reboot.
A stool-softened reboot.
Har har.
I guess The Grudge isn't a remake, because it glosses over the established franchise instead of rebuilding it. But because it's like it's taken place in 2004 all over again, it's technically like rebooting the remake, right?
That sounds about right. I mean, they don't really have anything in this movie about the initial incident that started the Grudge in the first place. It's all just, hey everybody, remember all that vengeful ghost stuff from Japan in 2002? Remember that crazy death rattle and the long black hair? Yeah, so do we. Anyway, here's John Cho getting bitch slapped by a ghost girl covered in poo water. Why is everything in this movie brown?
Ha! This should have called the movie Harold and Kumar Go to Brown Town.
Already exists. Search for it on X videos. I'm sure you'll find it.
You mean porn stole my idea right after I had it? Huh.
Anyway, The Grudge goes with the familiar non-linear storyline that the franchise is known for. It's something that made the original movie unique, if a little confusing at first, but I always thought it was cool.
Just like The Witcher on Netflix, right?
Did you even hear what I said, Vaps?
Yeah, but I don't think anybody's gonna be confused by the timeline or the lack of backstory in this movie. Even little babies are gonna be able to watch it and guess when the next spooky thing is gonna happen. It prompts you for everything with spooky noises, leading camera movements. You even get to see the ghosties walking from one hiding place to the next.
Well, just scared this lady in her bathroom. Time to scare her in the bedroom.
Yeah, I don't think many people will be surprised at anything that happens in this movie. There's like one freaky jump scare that still managed to spook me even though I knew it was coming. Mostly because the ghost lady was so damn spooky. It was an absolutely derivative, flimsy story. The bleak atmosphere feels forced. It's just needlessly depressing. In fact, I might just call it a bad movie. But I gotta say, I didn't get the impression that any of the actors weren't trying their hardest.
Oh yeah, I especially liked Frankie Faison and Lin Shaye.
Oh, you know she's gonna be good in everything she's in.
This movie is packed with great actors. They had Harold and Mandy, and even William Sadler, the Grim Reaper himself. And they all played it straight, but the script did nothing intelligent with these characters. We just get plopped down right in the middle of their crappy lives, which is so crappy that by the time the spooks show up, it's like, who cares?
Yeah, fudge off, ghost bitch, I got real problems.
Yeah, and some of the things they end up doing are so dumb. You could tell there just wasn't much thought put into them.
But first, let's just tell the people whether or not it's worth seeing before moving on to spoiler discussion.
Nah.
Yeah, nah.
I probably wouldn't watch it again. I'd even watch Satirical vs. Kayako over this movie. The Grudge hits all the familiar notes. And I guess you could say it succeeds at pretending to be a stale Americanized J-horror from the early 2000s, but it ends up looking very grimy and dismal on screen.
Like the inside of our refrigerator. There's a lot of, well, I wouldn't call it gore. There's a lot of rot in this film. And I ain't just talking about the script.
Some of that old mangled corpse stuff looked pretty cool. In fact, most of the visual effects weren't bad.
Dude, what about...
I said most. And the production is slick. But most of that slickness ends up being moldy slime overcrowded with maggots.
Well, now you're actually selling me on it.
Hey, if you like grungy borefests with absolutely no surprises, then The Grudge 2020 is probably the movie for you.
Agreed.
Grungy, huh? I bet for this movie, you guys are having, like, a grunge.
Okay, spoiler time. Let's talk about all the stupid shit in this movie.
It's spoiler time! We're about to spoil everything about The Grudge 2020, and maybe even some of the earlier films too. So be prepared to get spooked.
Knock it off!
Hey, remember that part where John Cho gets dookie slapped? Did y'all see me counting on my fingers down to the exact moment it happened? I was right on the money, and I only got 3 fingers.
Everybody just thinks it's totally fine to walk into the murder house in this movie. John Cho's just a realtor, and he's got a pregnant, distraught wife at home, and he just decides to have a sleepover with the spooky ghost girl? Why?
His wife even asks him why he didn't just call the cops instead of crashing on the couch like a hipster uncle. And he's like,
"Oh yeah, I guess I should probably do that. Oh yeah."
But by then it's too late, and the poo-covered ghost mom scares him into the closet.
Yeah, and he sees poo-covered ghost mom walk off screen, so of course he must be safe enough to take a phone call. Damn, did that ghost mom look pissed? It's such a contrast from Kayako's frozen look of shock and surprise. You never see Fiona Landers go insane. In the one part at the end of the movie where it replays the murder of her family, she looked way more shocked than pissed. Being dead doesn't piss you off that much, trust me.
maybe she just needed a hot shower.
Did you guys like how every ghost in this movie had a creepy death rattle? It made no sense, but hey, isn't it creepy?
Yeah, the little girl is drowned, and the husband gets cracked in the head and he falls down the stairs. I guess you could say he broke his neck on the way down, so we can give him a pass. But Pooh Mom just slits her own throat. The women of the house should have, I don't know, gurgled instead.
What they did with William Sadler was just a shame. Vic, you said this movie had decent visual effects, and I guess I can agree with that, but Sadler's silly putty face just looked like something from a different movie. In fact, William Sadler's performance had an energy to it that just didn't fit the dirty, shoegazing tone of this film. Neither did Lin Shaye. They're both great, and they're both creepy, but they also look like they were having fun, and they stuck out like sore thumbs because of it. No fun allowed in this movie. Can't you see that everything's depressing all the time?
Speaking of Lin Shaye, I thought her character's suicide was gonna be your example of bad visual effects.
Well, that show was funny.
Yeah. Whether or not it was entirely CG, it looked like the classic toss a dummy over the railing kind of gag, complete with flailing limbs.
Yeah, we did all laugh at that, so I guess it was worth something.
Lynn's character, Mrs. Matheson, is supposed to be on her deathbed, sick and delirious enough to think her fingers are chopped carrots. And from the state of her kitchen, her fingerless stump had to have been infected. On top of all that, the cops found her with her husband's murdered body in the living room. But she's freewheeling around the hospital just fine, all by herself. No police escort, not even a couple nurses to make sure she doesn't accidentally mistake somebody's foot for a green bean casserole.
Say, when Detective Muldoon discovered the crime scene, she called in an ambulance. The curse should have spread to all the first responders, right? The medics and the coroner and whomever else just got a pass, huh?
What was the dumbest thing in this movie, you guys?
Well, speaking of Detective Muldoon, she's so worried that the ghosts are gonna cause her to hurt her son, so instead of leaving him with her partner while she goes back to the haunted house, she figures it's a better idea to take the kid along with.
Oh, but it's cool. He can just hang out in the car while she torches the place.
Yeah, that part where she uses that old rule about what do we do when we're scared to figure out that her kid hadn't actually come into the house was so obvious. If this movie had any guts, it would have faked us out and had her accidentally set her own kid on fire. If you're gonna play all bleak and shocking, you might as well go all the way. Instead of having John Cho stab his pregnant wife to death, have him do an impromptu late-term abortion with those scissors, like what Takeo did in Ju-On, The Curse.
Wow, that really happened? That's fucking metal!
Yeah, for as dark and shocking as these modern horror films try to be, they seldom go as far as their predecessors.
As stupid as what Detective Muldoon does with her kid during the climax of the movie, I think the dumbest thing that happens is when Frankie Faison is talking to the euthanasia lady about ghostly activity in his house.
Oh yeah! There's no positive side to being a ghost in this movie at all. The dead simply repeat their own tragic deaths over and over again when they aren't busy killing or convincing the living to kill themselves. But poor Frankie's so messed up that he sees all the soggy piss phantoms as reassuring signs of a beautiful afterlife.
What? You mean after my wife's suffering is at an end, she won't really be dead? Her spirit will go on to mince up her own digits and fork me in the neck again and again for all eternity? Sign us up?
That was probably the best part of the movie, though, where he goes through all the happy haunting stuff with the euthanasia lady, and it just cuts to the next scene with her zipping up her luggage as if to say, nope.
Have you guys seen any of the other stuff the director of this movie has done?
Nicholas Pesci? Nope.
Yeah, me neither. The best thing I could say about his take on The Grudge is, at the very least, he did his homework on the franchise.
I went real deep, and there's even a sequence in the movie that's taken straight from the video game.
It didn't feel like he was trying to be disrespectful. It doesn't do much to stand out. As bland as the movie was, I never got the feeling like Nicholas Pesci didn't care about the movie he was making.
Nah, but there's always a built-in cynicism to doing a franchise film these days. Producers are scrambling to find things to do with existing properties, and they just slap things together.
What do we got for this Grudge thing, huh? We got a long-haired ghost girl, we got a zombie man, we got Lin Shaye. Okay, we got a movie. If Ted Raimi calls, tell him I'm in a meeting.
There's always some inevitable time or money issue, and maybe that's why Nicholas Pesci couldn't get a story together that's anything meatier than a leftover Grudge movie checklist with some heavy-handed misery cheese slopped on top.
A double depression grudge burger with cheese?
Don't give the Booger King or the McDougalds any ideas, Vaps.
The sad lives of each character is a general horror trope, and there's nothing wrong with making a depressing movie, but just like the no-waiting fast food scares in this movie, the woes are given no real time to develop. The tragedy is so surface level that it's hard to feel for any of the characters, even though the acting was as good as anything. Well, except for maybe Muldoon's son, I've seen livelier pieces of driftwood than that kid.
Yeah, you could tell he was just waiting to punch in that time card and have his juice box. That spooky ghost girl, though, she did a good job.
What was up with that yarn onesie she was wearing, though?
Yeah, she looked like she was wearing a dead pumpkin.
Enough with the catty fashion patrol, you bunch of ladies.
Yeah, you dames. Why don't you broads quit talking about clothes and stick to the scary stuff?
The scary ghost girl has to wear a scary ghost dress. Alright? Them's the rules.
Outside of Little Melinda's drowning scene, and of course the part where Frankie Faison is begging the euthanasia lady to help him, I don't think I really felt anything for any of the characters. They all end up doing everything you expect them to. A kid gets set on fire in this movie, and it means absolutely nothing because you know he's just an apparition. The heavy stuff in a movie like this has to come like a punch in the gut, when you least expect it, right when you think you have time to take a breath.
Come on, quit it!
Yeah, and that doesn't mean you hold the audience's hand and take them from one boo scream to the next.
Boo! And you don't create atmospheric dread just by making your movie the color of a leaky roof stain.
I think a movie like Hereditary was a good example of a haunted family drama, and The Grudge had the actors to pull off Hereditary-level performances, but it lacked tension. The pacing was way off.
You guys remember in Ju-On, like how long it took the ghosts to haunt everybody before they finally died? So many little effective things. How the ghosts presented themselves? They were psychologically terrorizing their victims. How many times did Hitomi get spooked before Kayako finally got her? And that prolonged scene when Rika finally gets it. When the blood-covered Kayako crawls down the stairs, no jump scares there. That scene takes its time and it's the creepiest, most dreadful thing in the world. I loved it.
Yeah, it was pretty great. Such an effective little movie.
Yeah. You know, it probably wouldn't have saved the film or anything, but it would have been nice to see just a bit more of the old house in Japan and the Saeki family. It would have given the story a bit more context, at least.
I was so hopeful when the movie opened in Japan, but then it's over. Just like that. The old Grudge tossed out with the trash.
Surely that wasn't some kind of intentional symbolism.
You guys know who I liked from that Judy June spooky movie? That little cat boy, Toshio. Man, that kid was creepy. Remember that kid? Hey guys? Guys, where'd everybody go? Oh, hey Sashimi. I get it. Okay guys, you can come out now. Good. Oh, ha. Very funny, guys. You already did this bit. Now cut it out. Oh no, it's, green guy. Dead? You guys stop. I'm gonna kick your asses. Yeah. How derivative an ending was that, huh? Well, if you like this video, We hope you'll give it a thumbs up and all that happy crap. We also got a Patreon if you're interested in other ways of helping the show out and want to see some more stuff. And, as always, if you have a question or comment about anything, post it here and we might acknowledge it in a future video. Most of all, we want to thank you for watching. Ooh, indigestion from all those lady fingers. Goodbye.